Okay. Okay, so shall we start? So today is chapter 14, Gunatraya Vibhaga Yoga, 3 modes of material nature. Here Krishna is introducing a very interesting model known as modes of material nature. So how these 3 qualities permeate everything we see, eat and all that, how it affects our lifestyle, we look at it, okay? Before that, let us pay obeisance to Sri Radha Govinda. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Nanaka Shalakaya Chakshunmitam Mena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Mena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Tadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapada Kamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavscha Shri Rupam Sagarajatam Sahagana Raghunatham Vittam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakana Vittamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Desha Pasha Desha Tarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasa Adi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. So let us start. So what did we see in chapter 13? It started off Arjuna asking some 6 questions about Prakriti, Purusha, Kshetra, Kshetrajna, Jnana, Nyaya. So what are these things? And then Krishna will explain about the Kshetra. Kshetra is our Shariram, that is our body. Kshetrajna is our Jiva, which is inside, which is the knower of this body, as well as Paramatma is residing in that. Then he gave us the difference what the Jiva and the Paramatma. Paramatma lives in all living entities, whereas Jiva knows only what's happening in this body and doesn't know about the other bodies. Then we saw about the process of acquiring knowledge. What are the qualities we should develop? Humility, tolerance. Then we should have take shelter of a guru. Then the ahimsa and so many qualities he had listed out, which we need to, if you want to acquire this knowledge. Then the object of knowledge is Paramatma and the thing. So, and how this knowing this, we are able to get things. So, but still we are in the how we get entangled in the modes of nature. He mentions that in the last chapter. So here in this chapter, he explains it in much more detail. So the blessed Lord said, again I shall declare to you this supreme wisdom, the best of all knowledge, knowing which all sages have attained to supreme perfection. So he is going to talk this interesting model, modes of nature. The qualities, actually it permits everything. We see here, taste, touch, smell, everything, even our lifestyle, our attitude, behavior, all follow under these modes. So a clear and closer analysis, we can perceive how people are functioning in this world with a mistaken belief of free will. Okay, actually how we are impelled to act according to these influences. Therefore, if we are able to transcend these modes, then we can act proper. Then we won't get caught in this material nature. So here are the 9 Yogendras who, when King Nenimi is doing some yajna, then they come to explain to him about the material modes of nature and how to get that. That is given in Bhagavatam, Srimad Bhagavatam. By becoming fixed in this knowledge, one can attain to the transcendental nature, which is like my own nature. Thus established, one is not born at the time of creation, nor disturbed at the time of dissolution. So he is giving again here more clarity. How we are getting this, we can come out of the birth and death cycle. So we can go back to the spiritual world and we won't be get disturbed by this the birth and death cycle. Okay, creation not disturbed by dissolution. Sarva yonishu kaunteya mritehe sambhavanti ya tesham brahma mahad yonir aham bija pradapita. It should be understood that all species of life, O son of Kunti, are made possible by birth in this material nature, and that I am the seed-giving father. So actually, he is the seed-giving father. He is the one which is enabling all the living entities to come into this world material, because it was our desire to come here. So he allows us to come. So he is the seed-giving father, and the Prakriti is our mother. So we are like a one family. But one thing we can understand, that we have different modes of nature, isn't it? Even in the same family, we will have so many siblings, right? Brothers, sisters, and all. All of them would have been in this brought up by the same parents, but they will have different personalities, isn't it? We see it in our own families. We can see it in our own society and all that. And so, some will go away from the tradition, some will follow, some will obey their parents, some will not. So each one will have their own personalities. Why it comes? So that is, we can see their nature. So that's what he's talking. Even children itself, you can see some will be very studious, some will be very much interested in playing, some will be interested, won't even take any interest in the studies. So we find such kind of different natures. That is the guna. So that's what here is being explained. Sattvam rajas tamas tamati guna prakriti sambhavaha nibadhanti mahabaho dehi dehinam avyayam. Mahabaho is material nature consists of three modes: goodness, passion, and ignorance. Goodness is sattvam, passion is rajas, and ignorance is tamas. When the living entity comes in contact with nature, he becomes conditioned by these modes. So actually, when he was in the spiritual world, as a jiva, he was not conditioned, he was free, and he was not, he was eternal, Satchitananda. But once he comes into this material world, then he gets caught into this condition by these modes of nature. It's something like, when there's a rainfall, and if in the top of the mountain, when you try to collect the raindrops, it will be quite pure because it is coming from the sky and there's nothing, no pollution. But somewhere in the middle of the mountain, if you try, even there, it will be not that much polluted. But once it comes to the ground, it gets polluted, isn't it? So the rain, same way, when we come into this world, material world, the jiva, the living entity, becomes conditioned by the modes of nature. Normal condition is healthy, but now he will get some diseases. That's like unhealthy. So Krishna proceeds to tell us how these symptoms are, how the symptoms of this nature, what we have. So tatra sattvam nirmalatvat prakashakam annamayam sukha sangena badnati jnana sangena na chanagaha. So what does he say here? O sinless one, the mode of goodness, being purer than the others, is illuminating, and it frees one from all sinful reactions. Those situated in that mode develop knowledge, but they become conditioned by the concept of happiness. So what does he say? Then the mode of goodness is something like this, Come,
let us go for a stroll in the countryside. Look. I brought us a healthy picnic lunch. The air is...
So, the mode of goodness, they are much better. They are all, and they will be quite peaceful, and they will be in the mode of, and they will be conditioned by happiness, means because they're quite happy and they're quite satisfied and peaceful. Okay. So they'll be in conditioned by happiness. What happens to Rajaguna? Rajo Ragatmakam Vidhi Krishna Sangha Samudbhavam Tan Nibadanti Kaunteya Karma Sangena Dehina. The mode of passion is born of unlimited desires and longings, O son of Kunti, and because of this, one is bound to material fruitive activities. So here Prabhupada actually says, in this modern world, we are more or less conditioned by this mode of passion. Actually, we think most of us are because to maintain this body, maintain our status, maintain our family, and in a particular manner and things. So we'll be trying to work and work and work, and we will try to. It will be more of result oriented. So we have that unlimited desires, and we want that. We want to achieve this. We want to come to a better standing or status level. So because of that, we work in a result oriented way, right? And we'll put in a lot of effort from morning till evening. We'll be doing working for maintaining this family and the things. So we have many desires and many longings. So, and we won't even stop to think, but we'll be engrossed in that. So such kind of thing is known as mode of passion, is born of unlimited desires and longings. And because of that, he is bound by two material fruitive activities. So he'll be all the time endeavoring, working. Okay. And here, the remain this.
What are you doing, man? Out there working on your tan? Honey's the honey Sunday! I bet you forgot about Susie, didn't you? You're supposed to take her to Vegas this weekend. You know, lose your money, Vegas. You'll be rich. You'll reach the top. Just one hitch. You're just unstuck. Just can't get it.
So they are always in that kind of thing, trying to go for this. They won't rest anytime. They want to keep on either going in this direction or in that direction. Either they'll be playing or they will working or they'll be going to some cinema, something, some activity they'll always be engaged in. They cannot sit quietly. That is Rajaguna. Tamastava anjana jam vidhi mohanan sarva dehina Pramadalasya nidra vis tan nibadnanti bharata. O son of Bharata, the mode of ignorance causes the delusion of all living entities. The result of this mode is madness, influence, and indolence and sleep, which bind the conditions. Here the people are not bothered about anything. He doesn't have any ambition, nothing. Oh, he says, oh, this is the way the people work. Let me also just follow them like the sheep, just follow that way and just be with it. Or he won't even bother to take any action. So he will not try to take any decision also. So that kind of people are always in the delusion, tamasa guna. So result of this mode is madness, indolence, and so they will get into all sorts of bad habits and drugs and this. So here and smoking and all that is shown in this video. Okay. So Sattvam Sukhe Sanjayati Rajag Karmani Bharata Jnanam Avriti tu Tamaha Pramade Sanjayate Huta. So the mode of goodness conditions one to happiness. Passion conditions him to fruit of actions. Ignorance to madness. So that's what we saw. So their mode of goodness conditions happiness means they will try to do some pious work, charity, or they will try to help somebody, or they will, so they will, they'll be quite peaceful, and they will try to, they know that by simply working like that, madness, it won't help them in their lifestyles. It may not give them peace. So they will limit to themselves to whatever they want to have, and that much they're happy with that. Contentment is there in them. So they are conditioned to happiness. Okay. Whereas passion people, they will always be thinking of what I can do next, or what I can do next, and whether this is enough or oh, this may not be enough. I should have done that. So like that, he's always trying to engage himself in some action. Where ignorance people, tamas people, inner inertia, they don't want to take any action. So these are the symptoms, what the Lord says. But what happens is sometimes the mode of passion becomes prominent, defeating the mode of goodness, O son of Bharata. And sometimes the mode of goodness defeats passion. At other times, the mode of ignorance defeats goodness and passion. In this way, there's always competition for supremacy. So what does it mean? See, for even ourselves, we cannot, one person will never be in the mode of goodness all the time or throughout. Sometimes he'll feel very passionate and they will be in the mode of passion, vigorously trying to get many things done in the thing. Or sometimes he'll be in the mode of goodness. And sometimes, in some situations, he'll be in the mode of what is tamas. So we will be oscillating, depending upon the situations and depending upon the influences which we have. We can be in any of the one of the modes, but we'll be, once you are in this material world, we'll always be influenced by these kind of modes of nature. So that happens. They'll always be trying to compete with each other. So like this, mind is that. Mind is the one which will either pull into whichever mode we can go to. So there's a race for prominence. But people in the goodness, they have some knowledge and wisdom, so they'll try to talk about it. Whereas the passion, we'll have the intense desire and we'll be working very, very hard like that, day in, day out. Whereas inactivity and madness. So in this, there always be a competition in this mode. So the mind is always pulling in either direction, depending upon the situation and the thing and whichever influence we are coming under. Okay, we may not like it, but still being in this world, we'll get influenced. You might be even a devotees also who are always chanting and all that. Even they could be influenced by the modes of nature. Okay, even they are not away from it. They can also be influenced by the modes of nature. So this will always be there for every living entity. The manifestation of the mode of goodness can be experienced when all the gates of the body are illuminated by knowledge. That means it's a knowledge. Only by understanding the things, the person will be in a mode of goodness. And the gates of our body is that in 2 eyes, 2 ears, 2 nostrils, then your mouth, your genitals, and your rectum. These are the gates of the body, and which gets all illuminated by the knowledge. That's what that is, the knowledge will help you to become calm, contented, and virtuous. You'll be doing pious activities. And so your sinful reactions won't be there. But O chief of Bharatas, when there is an increase in the mode of passion, the symptoms of great attachment, uncontrollable desire, hankering, and intense endeavor will develop. So there you're calm and contented, but here because it's based on the desires, which are uncontrollable desires, and you'll be attached to it, attached to that. If you are getting some wealth and all that, you'll be attached to that, or attached to the work. Now you want to get some success. You want to have you think that is the way to get happiness. So you believe in that. So you'll be working for it, and you won't be contented, because after one desire is fulfilled, there'll be another one. So there'll always be something or the other coming up, and you'll be always hankering, and it will require a lot of effort on your part to achieve that. So you think that's the way to become happy. So that is where the people are in these fruitive activities, hankering, and their intense mode of passion. O son of Kuru, when there is an increase in the mode of ignorance, madness, illusion, inertia, and darkness are manifested. So how we are thinking here, like, when some situation comes, when he has to take some decision, he may not take, because he is not in the mode of ignorance. So he will try not to think about it. He says, why bother? Why I can do? And he may not take a decision, and he will fall into this illusion. and he'll be all the time in tamas mood. Okay. Now comes, okay, we talked about the actions, how people are in different modes, how the action is, right? Action of goodness, person in goodness is contented. When he's in passion, he is in all the time hankering and he'll be endeavoring. And whereas in tamas good, he'll be in illusion and inertia. He won't take. Now comes what is the result of those actions. So when one dies in the mode of goodness, he attains to the pure higher planets. He can go to Siddhaloka or to Janaloka or Swargaloka, the higher planets, because of his goodness nature. This is the action, result of the action. But one dies in the mode of passion, he takes birth among those engaged in fruitive activities. And when he dies in the mode of ignorance, he takes birth in the lower planets, that's in the animal kingdom. So this is what he gets. Karmana suprastaya satvikam nirmalam palam rajastu palam dukkam hajnana tamas palam. So what is the phala you get? What is the result? By acting in the mode of goodness, one becomes purified. Whereas work done in passion will always result in distress. Okay, and actions performed in mode of ignorance results in foolishness. So that's what the Lord says. So this will be our result. In mode of goodness, you will become purified, whereas in the passion, you will be in distress. And because it might look that is the way to become happy, but finally you will be in distress. That's what we see most of us in the modern world. They're always in the anxiety. Most of us are in the mode of passion and also in ignorance. So from the mode of goodness, real knowledge develops. Because of the knowledge we have, the wisdom, we will be in that mode of goodness. And from the mode of passion, grief develops. Because you're not satisfied. You're not contented. You're always in anxiety. So there is a grief. And from the mode of ignorance, foolishness, madness, and illusion develop. Okay. So it's the same thing here. So it is important to keep a balance in what mode we are in. We can be in any of these modes, right? So we need to be, it's an important thing to balance our life. Urdvam gachanti sattvasta madhyatista rajasaha jaganya guna vritsa ado gacchati tamasa. Those situated in the mode of goodness gradually go upward to the higher planets, and those in the mode of passion live on the earthly planets, and those in the mode of goodness go down to the hellish planet world. So this is what I showed you earlier. No? Our 14 planets. Satyaloka is Brahma, Vesambhos, Tapaloka, Janaloka, Maharloka, Swargaloka, Bhuvarloka, and Durloka. This is a Bhuloka. Then Atala, Vitala, Sutala, Talatala, Mahatala, Rasatala, Patala. And below that is the hellish planets. Okay, these are lower and this. So this is what they say in mode of goodness. So when you see that there is nothing beyond these modes of nature in all activities, and the Supreme Lord is transcended to all these modes, then you can know my spiritual nature. So unless we transcend beyond, we should not get conditioned, become contented and don't go beyond the mode of goodness. We should even go beyond that to go to the pure Sattva Guna. We have to transcend that to understand the Lord and to get a spiritual nature. It's something like being on a boat, Actually, the boat is our human body, and that's the analogy given by the Prabhupada. And spiritual master is our captain who is taking us on the boat, and the instructions of the Lord is our favorable ways. So unless we take the shelter of a spiritual master and also abide by his instructions, then you can come out of this ocean of death and sagara, that is birth and death. Otherwise, you will be in the ocean struggling to go swim across on your own endeavor. So when the embodied being is able to transcend these modes, he can become free from birth, death, old age, and their distresses, and can enjoy nectar even in this life. So if we can go beyond that, even being in the material world, we'll be in the spiritual platform. So Krishna consciousness is the solution. That's what the Prabhupada says. Arjuna inquired, "Oh my Lord, by what symptoms is one known who is transcendental to these modes? What is his behavior and how does he transcend the modes of nature? So now we come, because if you do that, then you can escape the birth and death cycle, he says, no, Krishna. And then also he says we'll get his spiritual nature and we'll be going into his spiritual world. So now he wants to know what symptoms is that people who transcend these modes, how does his behavior look and how does he do that? So he wants to know that. Okay, this is because this is our interest. We want to know self-realization, but we also want to know how it can be done and how does a person behaves. So the blessed Lord said, he who does not hate illumination, attachment, and delusion when they are present nor long, that is, he does not attach to something, and does not long for them when they disappear. So he is equipoised in both the things, and who is seated like one unconcerned, being situated beyond these material reactions of the modes of nature. And he remains firm, knowing that the modes alone are active, who regards alike pleasure and pain, and looks on a clod, a stone, a piece of gold with an equal eye. And he is wise, and he holds praise and blame. He doesn't be the same. For him, nothing. He doesn't get carried away by the praise, or doesn't go down because of the blames he gets. And he is unchanged in honor and dishonor. And this is very difficult to practice, but if people can do that, that means they are able to get the qualities. And who treats friend and foe alike, who has abandoned all fleeting takers. Such a man is said to have transcended the modes of nature. And our best example is our Narada. Okay. So, Mamcha yo yabes charena bhakti yogena sevate sa gunan samatitvatam brahma bhuyaya kalpati. So one who engages in full devotional service, who does not fall down in any circumstances, at once transcends the modes of material nature and thus comes to the level of Brahman. So is here again Krishna is stressing on devotional service. Only by bhakti yogena, only by that we can transcend the modes of material nature. Okay, only by bhakti we can do that, this nature. Brahmano hi prastistam amrasavasya sashvatasya dharmasya sukasha. And I am the basis of the impersonal Brahman, which is the constantal position of ultimate happiness and which is immortal, perishable, and eternal. So reaching the thing is the ultimate goal of our life. So that's what the Lord says here with this. So what did we see? We saw 3 modes of nature. It's a very short chapter today. Sattva guna, Rajas guna, and Tamas guna. And how Sattva guna is our happiness, whereas Rajas will always be in anxiety and grief. And whereas Tamas will be foolish and madness. And we won't be in the one mode all the time. There'll be sometimes we'll be in the mode of goodness, sometimes it'll be in Rajas. So in any of the modes, we could be under those influence and action in the modes and how we are and the result. And we can, and how when we die, and what are the Sattva Guna, if we are more in the mode of goodness, you can, because of our pious activities and things, you might go to the higher planets, whereas in Rajas Guna, you will be in the material world, whereas Tamas Guna can go to the animal kingdom. So, and how do you get the purification is only by devotional service. We should understand these influences and we should be aware of which mode we are in, and we should try to go beyond that. And once we know that how to break the thing, we have to develop those qualities, and you can develop these qualities only by devotional service. So we have to live in goodness, connect everything to Krishna, engage in direct bhakti yoga. So only then we can transcend these modes of nature. So this is our lifestyle re-engineering. So we can look at our habits and we can see how we can improve ourselves. So that is only by key spiritual practices. As I said, A, B, C, D, E, association of devotees, books, scriptures, chanting, deity worship, engage in work, and eat prasadam and things. So that will help us to overcome this, go beyond the mode of passion and tamas. And most important, simple living and high thinking is what is the goal, right? Pancha kalpaturabhyascha kripa sindhu eva cha patitam nam pavanebho vaishnavabho namo namaha. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Chant and be happy.